So many content creators tell us, they bang on about the fact that titles are one of the most important YouTube strategies at all. So why do we keep hearing this over and over again? Well, because it's true. It is absolutely true. And I'm going to prove it to you. Let's get going. Firstly, we need a good idea. So it's all very well having the best title in the world, but if your content isn't great, it's not sustainable. But refer to my previous video about content. So assuming we have got our content nailed down, we know what we're going to talk about, and it's all set up, what is our title going to be? I would just challenge you to think about the sort of content that you are making for this particular video. So is it evergreen type of content where it is something that can be searched for at any point in time? It's something relevant whenever. So somebody could be watching a video of yours from 4 years ago and it actually still remains relevant right now. Is it something a bit more topical, something that people might be searching for that is like currently happening? Is it something, I don't know, entertaining or more informative? Is it escapism? What type of content are you making? Because that helps us hone in on what we think the title could be. However, no matter what your content is, there are certain key elements that your title could and should have to just make it a little bit more interesting. So does it evoke a little bit of curiosity? Does it look quite interesting? Is it something that may be searchable? Maybe it has a couple of keywords in there that actually could be useful in the search bar. Maybe is it something that's clear and concise? Because either way, no matter what type of content, we don't want a title that is too long, too wordy. It just loses interest straight away because people don't read it all. They actually just skim. But also, when your video comes up on YouTube, it often cuts off some of the wording on your title. So make sure you front load the actual title with the things you want to get out there quickly. So now I'm going to show you some really successful creators, and I'm going to just highlight some things in their title so we can see what actually works. These are proven formats that actually work. Then I'm going to show you some of my earlier videos. Short interlude just to say, this isn't my only channel. I have another channel that's all about luxury shopping, luxury bags and collections and reviews. That's not what this video is about. However, that channel is doing amazingly well at the moment, and that is why I wanted to share some of my experiences. So I'm going to refer to some of my content only to give you some examples of where I definitely went wrong in the early days. And in hindsight, when you look at these titles, you will see where I went wrong. But I'm also going to show you how to correct it, so hopefully this will help you guys. So firstly, let's have a look at Dan the Creator. And have a look at this one. The title is Stop Writing Your Titles Like This, It's Killing Your Views. So you can see what he's done here. He's made it clear, he's made it obvious, he challenges you. And he also maybe hits a nerve here because maybe you are struggling with your views and you're wondering what is going wrong. So he's actually hitting a nerve. It's something you might be interested in. It also gets that little bit of intrigue because you think you're going to get some advice if you click on this video. And it maybe solves a problem that you feel that you have. Otherwise you wouldn't be finding this type of video. So that title did really well for this creator because it just ticked all the boxes. So let's have a look at another one. So this one is April Lynn Alter. And let's have a look at this title. Give me 8 minutes, I'll make your titles 81% better. So what does this one tell us? Well, straight away is curiosity. What can she tell us in 8 minutes that's going to make our titles 81% better? And what does she mean by 81%? That's just, it's not a round number, is it? So again, just makes it that little bit more intriguing. So this also shows I only need to watch this 8-minute video and I'm going to gain so much information. Again, problem solving, a bit of curiosity, a bit of intrigue. Also, is it a quick fix if you only have to devote 8 minutes of your time to see these massive results? And let's have a look at another genre. So let's have a look at this gaming channel. So the title here is the only 30 single player games that matter in 2026. And again, it's very simple. It's obvious what he's talking about. It's obvious what you're going to get when you click. It also adds a bit of intrigue, the only ones that matter in 2026. So what he's doing there is he's saying, these are the only ones that matter and you need to know about them. So you want to know what's on that list. Also, it gives a time frame, 2026. These are current. These are what you're looking at right now. So yeah, again, it just works. And now we're going to have a look at some of my very early video titles, and then we can use that strategy that we've now thought about to reframe how I maybe could have done it differently and maybe got a lot more views. But also I'm going to then show you some that I did when I'd learned a little bit, and then I'm going to show you more recent ones, and hopefully you will see the progression. And I'm hoping that this video is going to help you guys to not take as long as I did to get to that progression, because yeah, I wish I had a video like this when I was starting out, because yeah, it was just, yeah, I was doing my best and I thought I was doing a good job, but you have to put the groundwork in, I suppose. But anyway, let's have a look at some of my earlier ones. So let's have a look at this first one. This is from very early on in my other channel. How I would modify handbags, the changes I would make, blah, blah, blah. Firstly, who cares? Who actually cares how I would modify a handbag? People don't know me. I'm not established on YouTube, or I wasn't then. Why would anybody care what I would do to a handbag? So that's the first thing. The second thing is how I would modify. It's not really a searchable term. It's not really something that somebody's going to go looking for on the internet. It was something that I thought was a good idea, things I found really annoying about these bags that I had bought, something that I would change if I could. But the way I framed it, nobody cares. It's not searchable, not interesting, and far too long and wordy. By the time I've mentioned the actual brands that could be good keywords or searchable words like Hermes and Dior and Chanel, people have actually not even got to the end of that sentence to even see that. So in hindsight, when I look at that title, I think, what on earth was I thinking? So how could I have done better with that one? Well, if I was doing that today, and I could still go back and change it, I could, I would do something like the 5 luxury bags that are not worth your money. Because if they're really annoying and I would want to modify them, these must be things that actually they're not worth what I paid for them, potentially. So that's an option. Or even something like, these luxury bags are so annoying. Evoke some sort of emotion or just a bit of curiosity. What is she talking about? Why are they annoying? Which ones are annoying? Is it one that I have? Is it one I'm about to buy? Do you see how I could just have framed it differently? And another very early one, favourites, what I'm loving, blah, blah, blah. Favourites of what? Again, who cares? Who cares what my favourites are? They don't know me. Nobody knows me. So you are not going to see that come up on your feed for the first time and think, oh, wonder what that's about. Nobody cares. And favourites of what? Honestly, things that I'm loving. It could be any genre, any niche. It doesn't specify what on earth I'm talking about. So how could I have reframed that one? Well, if I was writing that one now, again, I would say something like, these luxury items are worth every penny. Or even something like, buy these luxury bags now. They're amazing. Something that intrigues people, something that's that bit of curiosity. And maybe I would have done a little bit better than the measly few views I got on both of these videos. Once I'd learned a little bit and started to gain that bit of experience, a few weeks, months later, I had 2 videos that did really well because I started to learn what I was supposed to be doing. And so have a look at these titles, because these hopefully will show you that I managed to reframe things as I went forward. My luxury regrets, learn from my mistakes, luxury items you shouldn't buy. This was a really, really good video for me. And also have a look at the next one, which is the only 5 bags you actually need. Avoid expensive mistakes. again, you're giving advice. You're actually solving a problem for somebody. Somebody's maybe curious which 5 that you would recommend. And yes, I'm making it slightly personal, as in these are the ones I recommend, but it's not just about that. It's about you only need these. I've got this information that you need to click on and find out. And then I had a couple that did exceptionally well, like really, really well. So have a look at these. How to spot a fake bag, fake versus real, in-depth comparison, Hermes Birkin. Again, it tells you what the video is about. It's something interesting. Somebody might want to know how to spot a fake bag, and therefore I give you some information, some tips and tricks. I solve some problems. It might just be interesting, that type of thing. And then I had this video that went absolutely wild, absolutely wild. And the title on this one was "My Hermes Journey is Over. The Hermes Game Has Changed" reaction video. And this went wild, and it went wild for a few reasons. One, I think I framed it in the right way. There was a lot of speculation. It was very topical at that point in time, and a lot of people were talking about the Hermes game and the journey you have to go on. It's not about what this video is about, but it was something very topical. So I managed to frame it that people would be intrigued by somebody talking about that particular subject, but also I had first-hand experience. That was my angle on it. I had some experience that I wanted to share that a lot of people don't get that experience. So I had a slight in and a little bit of insider information, if that makes sense. And therefore this title on its own offered that bit of curiosity of what on earth I was talking about and why I had to walk away. So it was that emotive. It had a bit of everything in it, and that one did exceptionally well. We can always improve. I always say, I learn, I analyse, I adapt, I tweak, I repeat, off we go again, because we can always improve. And I always want to know why something does well and why something doesn't do so well. And I'm just intrigued by it all. I find it a real challenge. I find it a real positive experience. I never throw my toys out of the pram if something doesn't go well. I just look at it and I think, can I figure out why that didn't? And sometimes you can't. It is a little bit of a guessing game, I'm not going to lie, but I find it more of a challenge as to why. I wonder, it's interesting why that worked and that didn't. So let's just summarise where we have got to so far. So when you are writing your titles, just have a look. Is it searchable? Does it evoke some curiosity? Make sure your title is clear, concise, obvious. Make sure it's not too long, too wordy. And remember that sometimes YouTube cuts off some of the wording on your title when it's squeezing everything into that box. So make sure you front load it with what you want your audience to see first, because remember, they skim read. We all skim read. So make sure you don't waffle first and then get to the point, because you've lost them at that point. And do some research, see what works for others, see what the proven formats are, particularly in your niche. Go to your favourite content creators and just have a little bit of, just study some of their titles and how they've used descriptive words, concise, snappy, intriguing, all of those things that we've talked about. Just see how they do it and see if that's something that you can adapt for your own content. And remember, titles are only half the story. We can add a lot of intrigue and mystery and curiosity and just eye-catching, all those different things when we do our thumbnail, and as a package it just will work. But I'm not going to discuss that in this video, because thumbnails are a whole video on their own, so wait for that one. But in the meantime, let me know how you're getting on. Write some new titles, go back over some old videos and see if you can reframe them, and just see if it works, see if it changes anything. And other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on another one